See. Right. And as you all are coming in, feel free to put your name, your place of business in the chat, just so we know who's in the house tonight. Great, great. Wait a couple more minutes, see if yeah, we try to do these, we did one um in the morning last week. We try to be accommodating for folks that's may not been able to make it to that time of day. So, but these it is being recorded, so you can go back and we'll have both of the sessions up on the site for sure in the next couple of days, or maybe later tomorrow within the next 24 hours. So you can go back and look at it. But so we'll get started here shortly here. We got a few folks on. Great, great. Okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Thumbs up. Great. So I want to get started, and so welcome. This is Send LA. Welcome to this information session 2026. We're excited about this year, and we want to, what Ascend is about is just scaling your businesses, trying to get you in a position where you can secure these opportunities. I know everybody's excited about these opportunities that are um, in the Los Angeles area. And so Ascend LA is essentially in place to help you get in that position and make sure you have everything in place so you can go after these contracts and and win these contracts. And so I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, JP Morgan Chase, who has been very, very good, great partner over the years and been flexible. But they really have a great ecosystem, and and plugging into to that ecosystem and having a partner like that has global assets, and and a phenomenal ecosystem that helps businesses thrive here in Los Angeles and in other areas around the world. So just having them as a partner it has been great. So we want to make sure that we give them a shout out. And I want to talk a little bit about, just give you a background on what we're going to talk about tonight. So be, pretty concise. We want to get to the point where you have your questions answered and things like that. But we'll talk about, as I stated, what is LISC, what is Ascend LA, and then what I like to do is bring in an Ascend LA alum that can we can spotlight, and show, have them speak directly to you and talk about the impact of the program. So we're going to bring Alicia Bell from Hollywood Handy Construction. Very, very interesting story and success story. And so she's going to give some insights and lessons learned and talk about some of the achievements that she's accomplished, with the assistance of going through this program. And then we'll do a program overview and we'll have our partner, Renee Coda, and his team with CMG Alliance. He'll give you some insights in regards to his role within Ascend LA. And then we'll talk about the application process, the timeline, some of the key dates, and then we'll get into the Q&A. So with that said, just a little bit about me. I'm the senior program officer at LISC LA, and I lead our economic development programs and our economic development team. Uh, and LISC LA is essentially a community development financial institution. So we're a nonprofit, we're a bank, but we're a nonprofit, and it's a national network financial institution. So we're in 38 different offices. We've been in existence since 1979, and we've made investments over 35 billion in community nationwide, and leverage over close to 100 billion in grants, loans, and equity. But we've made impact. Specifically, I want to hone in on that 1 million plus businesses supported with technical assistance. And this, Ascend LA would be considered in that category as a technical assistance. It's a business development program, but it would be in that category. But locally, we've invested 200 million, over 200 million in community development, community impact investments. And then we also do affordable housing units and things like that. But the one metric that we get judged by on this program is contract secure. So that number you see, 70 million, over 70 million in contracts secured through programs such as Ascend LA. We talk about family sustaining jobs, creating jobs, job retention, business development. That those are the outcomes that come from programs like Ascend LA. Um, so a little bit more about us in LA. We like to talk about giving access to coaching, and you'll hear from Renee, CMG Alliance, access to capital. Obviously, we're a financial institution as well, and we got networks of financial institutions in our ecosystem. But this program is about procurement and getting contracts, access to contracts. And then again, we're a community development organization, so access to the community as well, and community impact opportunities. So again, we're a nationally recognized procurement accelerator. I like to say a procurement readiness program. And a business development program. So we help those businesses scale, and try to get them in a position to seize these moments for, economic opportunity through 2028 with the Olympics coming to the area and other opportunities. So, but you saw those numbers and we spoke about that earlier, but what you're going to gain is, scaling your operations, competing for major contracts and corporate contracts, access to capital, strategic opportunities. We try at Lisk LA, we try to be a convener too. We try to have you create these, if it's an event or, we try to create these collisions to happen to where you can get introductions, warm introductions to maybe it's a potential prime contractor that you want to get plugged in with. So we try to create that affinity within the cohort so can build on those relationships and hopefully, you'll realize some financial economic opportunity from those interactions. So, but Ascend LA is built for companies ready to move from opportunity awareness to contract execution. So I really want to say, like I said, it's a business development program. It's not really a training. There is some training elements to it, but from day one, we're assessing your company and trying to figure out how we can position your company to get it, to go after these contracts, secure the contracts, and then also fulfill those contracts. So, with that said, what I want to do is pause and uh, I want to pass it to Alicia Bell with Hollywood Handy and have her give some insights and tell a little bit about her story and hopefully that'll be helpful to give you some insight about the program. So I'll pass it to you,
Thank you,
Alicia.
Javar. Thank you so much. And hi, everyone. It's great to see all of you here. I just want to share that Ascend has been invaluable in helping me elevate Hollywood Handy Construction. It's a commercial construction company that I own, and their business development has helped me rethink how I approach my vision, my operations, my strengths, where to put my energy. CMG, Renee, Alexi, they have held my hand and helped me understand how to find opportunities, how to navigate those very complicated procurement proposals. And once I landed the contracts, they've assisted me with tools that I needed to successfully execute the contract and what it means to mitigate risk. I never thought about that term before I heard Renee say it. And even after the program ended, CMG is always there to help me anytime I need it, whether it's a piece of advice or a resource. I'm so grateful to all of you. And the other aspect that I wasn't expecting was the amazing connections that I made with my fellow classmates, all wonderful business owners at different stages who have so much to offer in friendship and talent. This program has also been so helpful that I'm literally begging them to let me back in again because there's still so much to learn. And in order to be successful, they're always pivoting and enhancing for what we need as they learn from us too. As a result, Hollywood Handy has successfully submitted many proposals over the last couple years. In fact, LACCD, the Los Angeles Community College District. At one point, I tried to do it on my own, and I was denied. It was so complicated, and I didn't know how to check all the boxes. But with CMG's help, we successfully got me pre-qualified to bid on their contracts, as with a very small pool of contractors. They also helped me get a state of California contract. I'm building my first ground up. It's an interim housing facility in South Central. It was $3 million. dollars. And we've broken ground. I'm laying my foundation as we speak. It's really a big deal for us. And I also just beat out 7 other contractors for the City of Pasadena Health Department bathroom remodel. It's a little smaller of a contract, but what I'm trying to do is work on building my public works resume. So as soon as I have a few of those under my belt and the government recognizes that as me understanding prevailing wages and public works and so forth, I'll be qualified to apply for bigger and bigger contracts. So that's why I'm here today. That's my goal. I'm happy to answer any questions at the end of the meeting, or please feel free to reach out to me anytime through hollywoodhandy.com. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Alicia. Yes. Also, I had a chance to see her go to her site and and see the work that was being done is great work, you know, in areas where they really needed to, you know. So, you know, that was great to see and see her you know, and hear her story. And there's more to her story too. So I just want to tell you that she's kind of holding back a little bit, but she got an awesome story on top of that. So so yeah, definitely plug in with Alicia too, you know, and yeah, thank you. Thank you for hopping on too last minute. I appreciate that. So let me share my screen again. Um and okay, so okay. So program framework was just really quick. So Ascend it comes from the University of Washington. and they have a 3M framework where they focus on management, strategic leadership, operational excellence, all of those different tools that you need within your business to be running smoothly, and then markets, competitive positioning, client targeting, and then obviously financial literacy, capital strategy. And then we kind of, like I said, I talked about this earlier, is the 4C framework is, access to coaching, one-on-one business and bid strategy support, access to capital lending partners, and then contracts, bid readiness, and RFP navigation. And then we're building a strong network of alumni that come through this program, and really building our network of community partners that helps us, engage and gets those warm introductions to those procurement decision makers that could be helpful with getting you securing those contracts. So with that said, I want to introduce our partners, and I do want to speak to this a little bit. Is LISC LA. Obviously, we're the lead convener and capital access and economic development strategy partner in this program, and then CMG Alliance, who I'll bring up here shortly, Renee Coda, and he'll talk more about his role and, just give you some more insight about how the program works. But one thing that I wanted to say about on the right side, our corporate partners, I mentioned JP Morgan, Capital One, T-Mobile, LABC, Get in the Game LA. Some of you know about gettingthegamela.com, and then Compete for LA. But some of these corporate partners too, we're having conversations with these folks too, and so a lot of conversation about building pipelines and pathways for opportunities for contracts with those folks. So think creatively about how you want to and Renee will help you coach your way along with that. But we have these relationships, so sometimes you want to position yourself to to go after those other opportunities if it makes sense. So but I want to pause right there and bring up Renee Coda, and he'll share some insights in regards to his role with Ascend LA.
Perfect. Thanks, Jabbar. Alicia, great job on that side. God, last minute stepped right in. Good job. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Renee Coda. I'm the president and CEO of CMG Alliance. So, we're a business development firm. We're a for-profit company. We're not a nonprofit. We run the business development component of the Ascend program. So I'd like to give you just some broad strokes of exactly what the program is. And Jabbar hit on it. One of the biggest things that we like to get out there is this is not a training program. This is a business development program. So what'll happen on the very first session, there are 4 strategy sessions, 1 per week to start the program. Those are strategy sessions. We're talking about specifics on conducting outreach, conducting research, and designating targets. We're talking about marketing materials, how to design those materials. We're talking about proposal production. What are some of the do's and don'ts? And then we end up talking about project management and how you're actually going to execute on those contracts. Once we get through those 4 strategy sessions, we move directly into business development. What does that really mean? What I want you to envision, you'll hear me say this in our strategy sessions, is this program is taking a business development team, a project manager, technical writers, analysts, and contract managers and dropping them into your business. So what'll happen once we get through those strategy sessions, we'll have analysts searching for RFPs, scopes of work, and shooting them back to you. I don't want to get into the technical side because you'll get into our CRM software and you'll see how this works, how that interacts with you specifically on that side. So they'll send you opportunities. We're going to want you to go through those opportunities. We're going to give you a system to come up with whether I should move forward, whether I should not move forward on this. Once an opportunity is approved, our technical writers start writing out that proposal. In other words, they put pen to paper, they start putting together the pieces. And then ultimately, once it gets submitted by you, that proposal, and you get into contract award status, in other words, if you have no idea what you're doing and we get to the point where they say, hey, you're the contract awardee in this program, you're going to get our help because it's about expectations, right? Because you're going to sit back if you got that contract award and you have no experience whatsoever and go, I'm going to fall on my face. What is going on here on this side? You've got us for that particular contract management component as well. So understand that. Now, all the things I said sound great. I'm sure that you're listening and going, wow, this guy sounds like the greatest thing since sliced bread. His whole team's coming in there. I want to manage expectations. And here's what I want to tell you is that contracting is a contact sport. What I really want you to understand is when you put in your application, is your responsiveness. If you're the type of person that takes, 2 to 3 days to respond to an email, this program is probably not for you. Now, Jabbar is probably one of the nicest guys in his team, him and Christian, nicest people on the planet. They're very nice to you, like, well, they're, let you go. We're not that nice. We're going to call it like we see it. In other words, if you're not ready, we're going to tell you you're not ready. Because what you have to understand is for this program, the amount of success that we've had in this program, you look at that 70 million, and those are small businesses, just exactly like Alicia, where we have just built up all those success stories. And now people are banging the door down to get into this program. What I want you to do is think about, do I have the time commitment to actually get involved in this program? If you commit the time and you're responsive, you're going to get a great deal more from my team specifically on business development and what are some of the strategy points and what do you need to work on and are you really ready? In other words, this happens all the time. Let's say your revenue is like $50,000 a year and you're looking at contracts that are $10 million. What you're going to get from us is, well, unless you got a rich uncle who's ready to finance that for like $9 million, that's probably not for you. That's probably not in your wheelhouse. So you're going to get real world experience specifically on the contracting side. The other thing I want to reinforce, here's the question that's going to come across all the time. I don't really know if there are contracts out there for me. I don't know if I'm ready on that side. Broad strokes, very high level view is if you specifically, I don't care what industry you're in, and remember, this is not only, you hear a lot of construction terminology in a lot of our programs. This is not only for construction companies, IT, manufacturing, professional services. We've got wins in all these specific categories. What we specialize in is procurement methodology, understanding how that procurement rolls out. So back to the high level view, when you ask that question, if you've seen RFPs or scopes of work out there and just haven't been comfortable with it, if you've seen them actually on the street or you're getting these emails or notifications, or maybe you're reading specific RFPs and you go, well, I do a little bit of this, but I don't necessarily do 100% of exactly what this scope is asking for, then this program is for you. If you're in an industry that doesn't necessarily touch public works or government side, it may not be for you. If you get into the program, I'm gonna suggest this to everybody. If you're just listening right now and you're going, well, I don't know if I have enough time, whatever the case is, submit the application. We're going to evaluate your company and we're going to let you know whether you're in or not. And the other big thing is we've already got over the amount of applications for spots that we have. The other big thing is Jabbar's going to hit on this, but he's going to talk about the requirements. And there's going to be revenue requirements. Everybody always asks, well, I'm not quite there. You know what? Submit the application, get a note in there, make some type of compelling statement on why this program would help you, or how you're prepared for this particular program. Be responsive to us in that application, and you never know. I'm here to tell you, we've had participants. There's one in particular, and I don't want to say the name of her company, it was a marketing company, but 2 rotations, 2 cohorts, we denied her and we sent her away. On the third one, she came in and we pretty much doubled her revenue in her business. She was so thankful about it. Anyway, she's one of the success stories, but the takeaway for you is understanding, listen, just because you feel you're maybe not be ready right now, you could be ready next year or within the next cohort, or somebody drops off and you're on the waiting list and you get in. Submit the application. Costs you nothing other than maybe 10 minutes of your time. If you can't spare 10 minutes of your time for that application, the program's probably not right for you anyway. So, all right, I've spoken enough. I know we're going to open up for Q and A's. I know I
Yeah,
gave you
yeah,
broad strokes on that side. So,
yeah, yeah. Thank you, Renee. Yeah, we'll open up for Q&A, but we'll talk a little bit about the eligibility requirements, and Renee touched on some of those requirements. So obviously, we're looking at businesses 1 to 2 million in revenue. If it go up to 5 million, but I mean, like Renee said, sometimes it's been less than a million. But we evaluate it holistically. If you got those capabilities. Now, one thing that we are looking at is different industries. So tech companies, we assess them a little bit differently. Is more based on the founder, and your capabilities, so and capacity. So you could, for some type of a tech company that could stand up a pilot in 30, 60, 90 days, you might be a good fit because of your capabilities, so the revenue threshold isn't necessarily the main criteria, so to speak. So yeah, like Renee said, if you feel like you got something there that makes sense within the constraints of the program model, go ahead and apply and ask questions too. So we'll have you have our contact information as well. But these are, so those industries that Renee was talking about, those are legacy industries, construction, professional services, IT. Last year, we opened it up to nonprofits as well. Nonprofits can, go after government contracts as well. So, but we kind of put that in our more of our legacy industries that we've been successful with. But obviously, it's a new world too. So emerging technologies that we're looking at, and some of our partners are looking at, and making investments in. So we're putting some investment in recruiting in these spaces, AI, clean energy, aerospace. Obviously, we got a cluster here in Los Angeles, defense and aerospace and quantum, advanced manufacturing and logistics. And so you see these two industries kind of colliding. So, it's kind of could shift a little bit of the makeup of the cohort, but I think this is natural, right? Because of technological advancement. And so, but another qualification, headquartered or serving customers, kind of be a little bit flexible with that. If you're serving customers here in Los Angeles County, we can assess it from that perspective. But I think we got a hard line on 2 years in operation, and then contract readiness capacity to compete for government contracts, and then a commitment to we got two cohorts, so 3 month program engagement. So working with the CMG Alliance team, and then some of the complementary programs around that. So I'm going to talk about some key dates here, and you got the application link. Application fee again is free, and then we have rolling applications through June 1st, and then application acceptance notifications will probably start early next week. You start hearing about who's in and things of that nature. And so CMG session dates kick off on the 5th, and then just go 4 sessions from there through March 26th. So with that said, applications are coming in. The cohorts are filling up. So yeah, get your application in. If you know someone else that that will be a good fit. It's always great to come into these cohorts, maybe with, teaming opportunities, things like that. So be creative, with respect to how you want to get the greatest impact from this program. So with that said, we'll pause there and I'll open it up to Q&A. Do we got any questions in the chat? And feel free to come off of mute if you like as well.
Awesome. Hi, Jabbar. I have a question for you. First of all, thank you so much for everyone coming on and sharing your stories and a little bit of the info session because you answered kind of like half of the bazillion questions I had already. So I'm glad that we started with that. Thank you, Jabbar. So I have a question. I see that you're one of the areas that you're focused on is the AI. So my business partner and I have an AI training institute. So it's more on like the training side. Part of the business is going to be going into like we want to branch into like getting companies onto AI agents and some of like the tech stuff. So are we considered more education side in your view, or are we considered AI tech side?
I'll
Tech
let
side
Renee.
on that. But yeah, let me ask you this, Emmy. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit.
Go for it.
That revenue threshold, are you over that revenue threshold?
I don't remember the number.
2 million.
Oh no, we just started like 8 months ago.
So here's what I'm gonna suggest because it's a hot ticket item, right?
Yes.
AI, everything, right? I don't care if AI is helping my lawnmower cut the grass or, sailing rocket ships, whatever the case is, right? It's a hot ticket. What I
Yeah.
would suggest is put the application in, put something, there's a space in there where you can submit some information, additional information. Put something
Okay.
compelling in there. Tell us why you think that at the end of the day, here's what I definitely want you guys to understand is that JP Morgan Chase comes in and they're paying the bill, right? I try to make that right as clear as day is that we're a for-profit company. I mean, our people like to get a paycheck and everything else. You know what I mean? They don't work for free, but you got to take advantage of that. And you got to look at the opportunity and say, okay, what is it worth my time? Okay, how compelling of a statement can I make to try and get into this program? Or if I'm on a waiting list and I get an email, do I respond that day or do I wait? Next week, maybe there'll still be a spot on that side. So I would suggest to submit, give us as much information and give us something compelling why you think that we should have you in the program. Because at the end of the day, kind of what I was talking about the funders, we need to move the needle. Like with Alicia, great success, right? But it's actual contract awards. They don't
Hmm.
come to us. JP Morgan Chase doesn't come to us at the end and say, "Oh, well, Emmy gave you a great, email, said it was the greatest thing." Well, they want to see the numbers. Like, what are we
Right.
doing? Economic impact. Is there more jobs being created? What are we doing for businesses, specifically? That's why we kind of talk about this is not a training program. So compel us why we need to get you in that program. That's what I would suggest on that side.
Love that. I think we have some of those that you'll be interested. We just finished teaching a course for a program that's sponsored by the USC's Marshall School of Business. So we were both instructors in that. And
Emmy,
actually,
stop right there. If you're a Trojan, I'm a Bruin, so we're gonna have
oh
issues
no, too
already.
much rivalry. That means we're out automatically. I protest. I
I
protest.
didn't mean to joke. I didn't mean to joke right at the bat. Trust me, I got Trojans in my family. No worries, no worries. I'm
Well, I'm
joking.
actually
On that sense.
I'm actually a big bear. I graduate. I'm a Cal grad.
Oh,
USC.
even worse. Goodness gracious, that's worse
Hey,
than I see.
we let you guys exist, baby Bruins. That's so cool. And actually tomorrow, so this is why we're excited on the procurement side because 4 months ago we started a conversation with Rio Hondo Community College, and they wanted us to work with them. We submitted all our paperwork, which we figured out thanks to AI. Woohoo! And just this Monday we found out we won the contract, and it was
Nice.
for like 23K. It's not a lot, but it's a lot for us right now.
There's your compelling component right there.
Okay.
That you've started in the first domino. The first domino is over.
Yeah.
You really need help to run. You've
Thank
given
you.
it to you right there.
Thank you.
Solid.
So yeah, we need help to figure out a consistent procurement plan because we're figuring it out as we go, and we have the leadership and training capacity. I've taught literally all over the world. We just don't have the consistency on bringing in those contracts.
Yeah.
And that's why we're really excited to talk to you and your team. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, thank
I have a
you.
question.
Thank you.
Hey, James.
Yes.
Can I go ahead on this one?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
So I'm in the business of professional services. Part of my face, the dermatologist got me. I am a Bruin, although both my parents were Trojans. But I'm a veterinarian, and what I have done since selling my two hospitals is worked on providing pet services for the communities around that have a problem financially with getting their pets vaccinated and taken care of. Right now, we're going to 12 different dog parks sponsored by different cities. So we have Culver City, Eagle Rock, Inglewood, Pasadena. So we have a bunch of them, or 12, but I don't think it's enough. I think that the ideal would be to have cities sponsor taking care of their communities so that animals got vaccinated against rabies, they don't have parasites, the kids aren't exposed to bad things that the dogs don't take care of, or the cat.
It's a health and safety issue, right? Yeah.
So, and obviously that would generate an income for us because we're providing the service. Would your organization be able to find ways of getting communities like cities be able to say, okay, we're going to give them a contract to do this for us. We're going to maybe even have them in place so there's an emergency, right? As we've just had fires, whatever, that this organization can step in and be of help. There's a professional on call. To me, the ideal would be to have those things where there was a monthly stipend for the fact that they know that I'm there and I can commit resources and a multitude of places around Los Angeles. Is that something that would be a fit for what you guys do? Obviously, it's not technology, it's professional services, and it's an unusual one.
James, let me ask you this question. Have you ever seen any scopes or RFPs come your way by way of the county or cities or anybody else on that side that you have seen?
I have not, although cities have invited us and say, hey, look, we like what you do. You come on over and do it. And they promote us on their website. But basically, we go there, we set up, and whatever the profitability is over what it costs us to do the service versus what we get paid, that's how we are. So but there's no RFP that I've seen. And there should be. It's an innovative idea.
Well, but then again, there's a budgetary system. If there's no budgetary system provided for what you do, then that hurdle may be too high of a hurdle to get over. That's a real possibility. And we have this all the time, right? And you'll go to these cities and they'll say, well, this is great what you're doing. It's an absolute great service. We'll put you on the website, but they don't want to come across with any money. That's kind of a typical thing for new and emerging technology or services like what you're doing on that side. So to answer your question, the very first strategy session that we have, and just for everybody's information, those strategy sessions that we have, there's an actual exercise that you're assigned to do. And it's not very difficult whatsoever. But the very first exercise that we go through is conducting the research and figuring out specifically, is there a spend for what service or product that you're providing specifically on that side? So it may be a little bit difficult. I mean, it could be just an introduction situation to some of these cities. I would say you would probably want to go a couple steps above county or state level, because maybe there'll be some health and safety procurement dollars that are geared towards, vaccinating vets or something like that. Very good possibility. Probably couldn't give you an answer right now without conducting the research, but the very first strategy session is conducting the research to see, is there a target out there for you?
Yeah. And I'll piggyback. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think, and the one thing, your target is those local municipalities, so that's the thing, is that's the difference between going to the state with with a concept like that. But the municipalities, just understanding the constraints that they operate in. But then there is some creative opportunities where you can, because I got my first government contract with a municipality for a tourism fund for innovation, and so I had to do some convincing, you know what I mean? But it's definitely opportunity there. But in the context of Ascend, we're looking for procurement opportunities we're looking for, like Renee said, it has a budget, attached to it, and it's a procurement methodology that Renee teaches to get you in a position where you can go after that. So understanding those constraints, but you can still be creative about getting there. But there are constraints,
And James, a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff that you may find valuable are some of the techniques, some of the
Mm.
procurement techniques, sales techniques, interaction techniques as well, and especially the
Going
proposal
going
production.
to federal or state, what about the homeless population? I mean, would that be an adjunct to be able to help? Because it's amazing how many of these people have animals.
That may be your segue right there, right? Maybe it's a
Yeah.
presentation on that side. So what we would do is we would show you how to research, okay, what did the state, and I'm embarrassed to say I know what the state spent on the homeless population over the last couple of
Billions.
years. It's astronomical.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me where that money went to. Nobody seems to know. But
Nobody.
anyway, but that's an idea. That's a possibility. And maybe it's a nonprofit segue where nonprofits, which is it comes by way of a grant, not necessarily a contract. There may be some synergy there on how to actually get into that. So to answer your question, I wasn't trying to totally be in the gray area. We wouldn't really know without doing the research and
Yep.
getting involved.
Makes sense.
It looks like we got one more in the chat. If you are nowhere near the minimum for this program, what are some programs or resources we can access to position us to eventually be eligible for this program? Um, you know, we really are, so that's where Lisk LA kind of comes into play because we got our ecosystem, and we got other programs, like I said, economic development programs. We had I see some folks here from our fueling entrepreneurs as well. So trying to create, a feeder system that kind of helps, those earlier phase companies, get in a position that we sprinkle in procurement readiness into those programs to kind of get them interested, in that space. But like I said, maybe just continue to plug in with Lisk LA and our ecosystem, and we can plug you in on other programs that might be a better fit, right? Uh, it looks like we got another Kyle. Do you got your hand up, or I saw you come off mute?
I was going to ask a quick question. Well, two
Okay.
quick questions. Hey, everybody, Kyle Miller of Next Motive. Thanks, Jabbar and Renee, so far for the information. It's been super helpful. I understand that it sounds like we're planning on several sessions a week. And so logistically, I was just going to ask what that looks like, what's virtual, what's in person across the 12 weeks. And also, the second question is, what does support and just basic communication and staying in touch look like post program completion?
Great question. So to start off at the first part of your question, there's only 4 sessions. So it's 1 hour per week. So there'll be 4 weeks of 1 hour sessions. They roughly go about an hour and a half with Q&A because it's a real strategy session that we hit on that side. And this is 100% virtual. So in other words, when we start the business development component, we're going to be sending you opportunities, looking at specific scopes. You're going to give us some feedback. Maybe we jump on a Zoom or whatever the case is. Hey, let's talk this through, whatever it is. And then our technical writers are going to be in contact with you virtually. So this is 100% virtual on that side. Your other questions about support after the fact. I mean, I'll tell you what, Alicia made a great point. She's trying to get back into this cohort because she knows how valuable it is. She wants back in. That's why she's here giving us her time as well. So, I mean, our alum cohort are great. I mean, we've got some of them in the double-digit millions dollars of contracts, you know what I mean? And we always bring them back just to, say hey or whatever the case is. But the support after the fact, I mean, I'm not going to say my team's going to be writing proposals for you after the fact, 7 months down the road, obviously, but just the connections that you make here, you'll have a ton of support, ton of direction, that we can put you
Gotcha.
in.
Okay, helpful. Thank you. And sorry, one more question.
That's it, Kyle. You had one. You had
cut
2,
off.
man.
Oh,
You already
no.
had 2. I'm kidding with you, man. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So obviously the program resources are going to be super valuable. And we'll be more competitive and more ready, all the good things. Is there a referral component? Like, are there specific things that the program does to give us added visibility to buyers? Anything?
100%.
Okay.
100%. You're going to have, so we started this a few years ago. And what happens is we have those large primes and agencies knocking on our door, asking us
Cool.
specifically, like, hey, as a matter of fact, I just got a request today about a roofer or something, that has come through the program, whatever the case is. We
Yeah.
constantly get AI questions, all the time. Hey, do you have somebody on that side? And again, when we make those referrals, what happens with those large corporations or agencies, if they know they've gone through this program, there's a level of value right there where they go, okay, these guys know procurement. Like, that $100,000 a year company, we're not going to drop a $40 million contract on them because they know that it's just not possible, to get that accomplished on that side. So to answer your question, the referral side, absolutely on that side. And the good thing, the thing that I like to stress as well, and I try to be as positive, or I think that I'm very positive, but sometimes some of the things that come off that I say are kind of negative about procurement, but I'm going to give you the real world, no nonsense facts about procurement, about agencies, who you're wasting your time with, who you should go after, absolutely. So the referral
Awesome.
side, absolutely on that side.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Any
Appreciate
others?
it. I don't see anyone else.
I actually have
Oh,
I have another question.
follow up. Okay.
Hi everyone, my name is Marlisa, CEO of Gambling Consults. We're a managing consulting company, and um, I just noticed that in a lot of spaces, a lot more products are kind of desired than like consulting services. So I was just wondering, do you all work with consulting firms that do provide more technical assistance and management consulting, operational consulting, and things of that matter?
The short answer would be yes, Marlissa. But let me ask you the question. Like I said, I'm going to put you kind of on the spot. The gambling consults, give me the elevator pitch in like 8 seconds. What do you guys do?
We fix broken processes through institutional and inclusive design models that we've
Change
developed.
management. So change management.
It's a little bit more complicated than that, but sure,
Okay,
that
but
it includes
in
that.
that realm, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer would be yes, that we would have those. I mean, we do a lot of that stuff, leadership development, change management. Um, we get a lot of participants come through on the consulting side that are right in that wheelhouse. I saw the gambling, and I'll be honest with you, I thought, oh, okay. I would probably go to your site, personally, but for the program, I thought it was maybe gambling. So, you
You
know.
can thank my husband for that. That's now my last name.
We could talk about name changes too if you get into the program. So,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
yeah,
So yeah,
get it to be two hot button. Sorry to interrupt you, Jabbar, but two hot button
no.
issues, folks. Just if I could be as blunt as possible, gambling and cannabis sales, kind of tough. Even in this day and age, for the program specifically. I'm not saying it's not a viable business. I'm just saying it's a tough sell because always
Yeah.
remember our funder, JP Morgan. Think about that. It's Jabbar
Mm-hmm.
that's got to sell that,
Mm-hmm.
up the
Yeah.
chain. Sometimes that may be a tough sell, but not to
Yeah.
say we can't do something, but those
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
two kind of tough
Mm-hmm.
issues. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Thank you for your question, though. Yeah, definitely. We're here to answer those questions and be helpful. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Yeah. So we'll pause it. We'll stop it here. If you have any other questions that might pop up later, like I said, someone in your network that you think would be a good fit, have them reach out to ascendla@list.org, and then we'll get them plugged in or respond to them promptly. So appreciate everyone coming out, and we'll have this up on the site, and looking forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thanks, everybody.
All
Alicia,
right,
thanks
take care.
again. Appreciate it.
Always.
All right.